Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 Planning Board meeting for the Town of Raymond. The board will come to order. It does have a quorum. We'll start with roll call.
Jackie Sawyer.
Stephen Clark.
Greg Foster.
Robert O'Neill.
Ed Granich.
Mark Childs.
Kevin
Woodbury.
Thanks, Kevin. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are presented. Please notify the chair if you are unable to see or hear. The board works with a published agenda and will be considering tonight's items in the following order. We have the approval of the minutes of the January 8th, 2025 meeting, no old business. We have two public hearings scheduled tonight for ordinance changes, one on docks and one on the solar. And we have some new business on a discussion on our open space subdivision revisions, followed by staff communications, updates, and adjournment. I am going to skip the rest of this reading because we have no projects on the list. So first, as a matter of introduction, if you don't know, Mike has resigned, and Jackie, fresh from the comprehensive plan, has volunteered to step in and take his place. So welcome, Jackie, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
And our first order of business is the minutes. And anyone okay with it? Any changes?
I move that the January 8th minutes be approved as submitted.
I'll second.
And is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And 2 abstentions. Oops. 5. Okay. Next is, let's take the docs first for our introduction. Brett, would you give us a quick review of what we're changing?
Yep. So there's one small change from last time based on the board's discussion, which is the line item of allowing for adequate ADA turning radii to the docks. But there's a diagram included that I think explains it pretty well between the difference between the length side and the width side for the modular docks and which orientations are allowed.
Do we know if this answers the question the Zoning Board of Appeals had on this? Did we ever get that to them? Do you know?
It's not really directly a question. They just wanted a definition. Those were more in relation to placement of the docks.
Right.
One was on a right-of-way and one was just neighbor dispute. They just wanted some clarification. I mean, these are mostly DEP rules, and we're just kind of trying to explain them better so that people have more of something to visually and understand what it is.
So you think this does get them what they were looking for, or close?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think in terms of enforcement, it makes it pretty clear, like what would be allowed and what would not be allowed. I know, like last time we talked about like multiple length sides stacking up, kind of creates a platform out there and that kind of thing. So I think it also helps out code enforcement as well.
Okay.
I thought it was the length of the frontage they owned on the lake versus the frontage they have on a road. Wasn't that the?
That was just cleaning up some language so
For
that
the
it was
permit, yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
For the permit.
Just to be eligible for the permit.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is just the layout.
Okay. Any other questions on the board for this? All right. I will then. Kevin, you okay with it so far?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I'll open the public hearing. If there's anybody that would like to ask questions about the dock ordinance changes. Hey, Pierre. Can they get warm?
Yes.
Nobody? I will close the public hearing. Back to the board. Be okay with sending it to legal? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kevin, okay? All right.
Yep.
Right, send to legal.
Will do.
All right, our next one is the solar project, the changes that we've been discussing. Brett, back to you again. You want to give us a little intro or a little summary?
Yep. So essentially what we're looking at adding here is changing the definition of a solar energy system and then breaking that down between principal and accessory. So I did add a couple things for accessory and principal based on our last discussion. Essentially, the accessory solar energy systems are primarily to achieve net zero consumption for private use on that site, where the principal solar energy systems, they're primarily for net metering. That's to a grid-tied system where it's connected to the power lines and can send excess electricity and sell that back to the grid for profit.
Okay.
There are also additional definitions for building integrated, ground-mounted, and roof-mounted solar energy systems as well, just
Other
for
than that-
clarification.
Okay.
Could you clarify which, either A or B would apply to, you know, the solar system that you put on your house and it's net metered, so what goes into the grid and goes against your bill?
Sure, yeah, so I
Would that
think
be B?
I think that would be more A, as an accessory use for your own private consumption. If the principal use on that site would be a single-family home, and then the accessory use would be the solar energy system for your own private consumption. That smaller system, it wouldn't be feasible to try to sell that, to connect to the grid and try to sell that back to the grid.
Well, it does with net metering. If you get a system on your house and you produce more electricity than you're using, it does go back to the grid and you get credit for it.
But that's credits, though. It's
Okay,
not,
just credits.
right, that's not like a
versus,
for-profit
Okay,
principal use on the site.
I understand.
Yep.
Any other questions for Brett on the solar project? Solar ordinance changes?
I was just curious, do these match what the state has for definitions, or are they?
Yeah, there was a little bit of research done into some surrounding municipalities and also trying to align with what the state provides as well.
Okay.
Okay, then I will open the public hearing for the changes to the solar. If there's anybody that would like to talk to it. Yeah, Jesus, I was almost disappointed here. Almost.
Jennifer Danzig, 38 Pulpit Rock Road. So I have, actually, can you hand me that? So I have what you guys proposed last time. So when I did look online before we came today, all there was an agenda. There was no e-packet. So you're not proposing any changes from last time.
Just adding some language, right?
Right. The only,
Just
Clarity.
two
Right, but I
additional
don't,
sentences.
I can't comment publicly on language that I haven't seen. Right? Isn't that the purpose of the public comment, is for us to see what the ordinance is actually going to say? And then we have our public comment before you send it to the attorneys? So
We are
so that's my only question is, like, I have what you did in January. Is anything being changed from January to today in the language? Because I haven't
No.
had a chance to review
No.
that yet.
no, and you can read it here. We could come back to you if you have a question on it.
Okay.
But no, there's been no changes.
Okay, that
Yeah,
would
we-
be great. I'd love to read it. Please.
Here you go.
Thank you. Just
Just-
because it wasn't online.
Just the blue.
the blue. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The same.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah. It's the red that I was looking for the last time was actually blue.
Oh,
Yeah. Any other comments on the solar?
White and blue.
All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'll come back to you, Jennifer, if you have a
Okay,
question.
great. Thank you.
Okay to send to the lawyers for change? Okay. Brett, send it to the lawyer. Oh, now I don't have my notes. Send it to the lawyer.
Will do.
Solar's done. Lawyers. That's done and done. Okay, new business. The open space subdivision. Where are we?
Sure. So I think at this time, I think it makes sense to pause making any substantial changes to the open space subdivision for a couple different reasons. One was, when trying to find it, is actually Article 13 in the land use ordinance. And since it's talking about subdivisions, I think it's more appropriate that an open space subdivision is located in the subdivision ordinance
Yep.
instead of the land use.
Right.
Making those kinds of changes would take some time to comb through the ordinances and make sure that we're referencing the right sections, right pages, that kind of thing. And also with the recent updates to the comprehensive plan, once those are officially adopted, I think it makes sense to wait to see what that final document looks like. And then also try to make it fit more aligned with the actual comprehensive plan, if that makes sense. I know that there's growth areas that are in the latest draft that I've seen. So if we can kind of fit those specific standards to those growth areas, I think that'd be a bonus
Okay.
within this open space subdivision. One minor thing that we could do now, when it talks about density bonuses in the open space subdivision ordinance, we could add a line in there talking about, you get a density bonus if you're located within a growth area as defined by the town's most current and adopted comprehensive plan. Right now, the 2004 adopted comp plan references the 1991 comp plan. So it's a little, you have to kind of go back a little bit ways, but I think it's more appropriate, though, to wait until this most recent version's adopted.
I agree.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That's fine.
Kevin?
I agree.
Please. Okay. This was your idea. You
It
wanna-
was.
And you're going to wait? You're okay
Yeah.
with it?
Yeah.
Kick the can down the road.
Wouldn't I be?
Just wanted to make sure. All right.
You have someone in the audience.
Go ahead, Peter.
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. I attended the select board meeting last night, and at that point, myself and the other co-chair of the comprehensive plan presented to the select board the final draft as approved by the state. I will tell you that, just for your own information, what we did ask for was that the select board and town manager reach out to code enforcement, to the planning board, for feedback on the plan. The draft plan is on the website and available now, has been for a while. But I'd ask that, we also ask that the planning board, zoning board of appeals review it and submit questions, comments, suggestions, recommendations, or changes a week before the next select board meeting. And you can submit that to the town manager. And that feedback would be most helpful, because I believe at the March meeting, the select board is basically going to ask the co-chairs of the comprehensive plan for what changes they would like to see. And I just thought it was important that this group, as well as code enforcement, also have some input, because obviously it impacts you directly. I mean, as was just discussed with this matter. And they agreed to do that. So the town manager should be reaching out to you. If not, I would encourage you to reach out to her and say, we've reviewed it, here are our concerns, questions, suggestions, recommendations, or the like. The only thing I would caution you on is that anything that is a state requirement in that plan can't be changed. But anything that is Raymond specific, and that would certainly be a number of ordinances or recommendations in the plan that would require ordinances for the town specifically. Definitely, we need your feedback, your thoughts and comments.
Has much changed since your presentation to the town?
Really, not a lot. What we did have is the state requires of the comprehensive plan that would be approved by the state is that we have a public hearing. And so we had a public hearing after a 30-day comment period online for citizens. So some of that stuff came in, and what we maybe tweaked our wording a little bit, but generally it has not changed significantly. Obviously, all of the things that was required by the state we got through with the first pass, and they blessed it and said, yeah, that's good. And like I say, it's actually absolutely not verboten that there be a change to a state requirement. All it means is that we go back to the drawing board, that the approval of the state for this comprehensive plan would be null and void. So basically, you can't touch that unless you really want to start all over again. But once again, I encourage you all, you've got now 2 individuals that were on the comprehensive plan that sit on this board. So I think you've got all the expertise you need as far as feedback, as far as that's concerned. But certainly, I'm also available, and I've got a town email. So if you have questions or concerns or something you want to run by, please feel free to email me as well.
Thanks, Peter.
Would we give feedback to the town manager as the planning board or as individuals, members, either way?
Yes.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
All right. All right, so that takes care of that. Sandy, you want to talk a little bit about that 7-day appeal thing that we need to get? Or is Brett going to do that? Or are you doing that?
Brett's going to handle that.
Brett?
Yeah.
Would you just, and I think we can just move that right through today.
Okay, yeah, essentially, the state requires 7 days for appeals, and I think the current ordinance references 16 days. So we'll definitely want to get those combed through the ordinance and make sure that that's updated to align with state statute.
Okay, which will require an ordinance change.
Correct.
But I think we can just roll that into
Yeah.
something else that, I don't think we need to do that. Everybody okay with that? Everyone understands with that? Okay. All right, what else? Well, this is really fast. Sandy, you have anything else for us?
It's record time.
Could be a record.
I do not.
Do we have a application for the next meeting?
Nope.
All right, so we've got stuff going to legal, which is our last 2 things.
Right.
We've got a delay on the open space.
Correct.
We've got the ordinance change for the 7-day
Yep, appeals.
appeal, that we can roll that in, and we don't need a special meeting for that.
No, yeah, I think that's easily handled.
We can even roll it back into like the first batch of admin changes. Right? I don't even think that's,
Yeah, well, in terms of the time frame, is April too late? Do you mean like have nothing on the March agenda since there's no active applications?
right.
Yeah. Is April too tight of a time frame, I guess, to get that turned around? I'm sure legal won't have an issue with this because they'll probably want this, the appeals language changed, but.
Yeah, that, no, April would be the normal time, actually,
Okay.
under normal circumstances. If
Right.
we had not done this accelerated
Right.
version,
Okay.
we would have them all bunched up into April.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that'll be just fine then.
And it should be.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
Just changing a number from 16 to 7.
Yeah. All right, any other questions on the board?
No, sir.
Linda, you okay? Do you have any questions? I said I'd come back to you. I didn't. Jennifer, sorry.
I'm good.
You all right?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Sorry, Jennifer.
No.
All right, I guess that's it.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Done.